morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Sir Meerkat, and welcome back to the Moto Meerkat channel. And I know before you say it, the hair is getting so bad now at this point. It's really, really awful. The beaver flick is in full force, but just ignore it, attempt to, and we'll get through this video. But a couple of months ago, I made a video where I talked about the driver salaries of all the people on the F1 2020 grid. Now, I've been wondering, how much do the people behind them actually make? So we know that the drivers are like the poster boys of the team, but the team couldn't run without all those people behind the scenes. So how much do they actually make? Well, between 2007 and 2017, the average amount that the team spent on staff per year increased from 29.2 million per year to 52.9 million per year. So today we're going to delve into what each member of the pit crew on each team are actually paid for each race that they attend. Obviously there's going to be like bonuses and other payouts to deal with, but this is sort of just to give you a rough idea. These numbers aren't set in stone or anything. And these people will obviously have more job than their job title insinuates. They'll be doing loads more things around the team. But holy Christ, this information was difficult to find, so if you do end up enjoying the video, be sure to drop a little like on it down below. But yeah, let's jump straight into it. So firstly, we've got the fire extinguisher holder, who gets £500 per race meeting that they attend. So these guys are there basically just for backup in case anything goes wrong. We don't have refueling anymore, luckily, so there's less likely to be a fire in the pit stop, but it's always good to have them there on hand just in case. We don't want any more incidents like Kimi Räikkönen had in 2009, where the petrol nozzle was ripped from, I believe, Kovalainen's car, and it sent fuel spraying all over his car, all over Kimi, and woof, suddenly it ignited. And a really, really terrifying moment for the Finnish man. I bet he lit on fire and just went, whoa. As I said, always necessary to have these extra precautions, make sure that the sport is safe as possible. Now, in the original 22 race season that we would have had in 2020, the fire extinguisher man would have been paid £11,000 for the race year as a whole. A pretty penny for someone who seems to just stand around and watch over, but as I said, he will have more jobs. Then we have the Lollipop Man, or Traffic Light Man, whatever you want to call him. He gets £1,200 per race meeting. Now, the Lollipop Man was a staple of early 2000s Formula 1. They had those absolutely comically large poles with the huge circles on where they had the green for go, red for stop. And they would obviously hold them out in front of the man that was in the pit box, telling them where they can go and when they cannot go, trying to keep it as safe as possible in the pit lane. But as technology has moved on, it's sort of moved into more of an automatic light system now, but these people are still needed to be there to have manual overrides for when things go wrong and when unexpected things occur. But in the original 22 race season, the Lollipop Man, or the backup Traffic Light Man, would have got paid £26,400. So the wing changers, or wing adjusters, I guess they don't always have to be changed every time they come into pit lane. Sometimes they just adjust and tweak little bits on them, but they get paid £2,500 per race meeting. But as I said, these guys come into action mainly when drivers have an incident on track and damage their wing, and this seems to be happening more and more now as the cars become more aerodynamically delicate, and it means that even just a slight movement in the airflow can sometimes rip bits off. But these guys, as I said, are also needed sometimes in pit stop, just in a normal pit stop with the change of the tyres, just for stabilisation of the car in general, and sometimes tweaks to the aero. But in the original 22 race season, these guys would have been paid £55,000. So the front and rear Jackman gets £2,500 per race, and they leap into action and make sure that the car is up in the air as quickly as possible so that the wheel men can work on it as quickly as they can. So they've got to be slick, they've got to be quick, they've got to get everything in motion so that the whole rest of the team can work as best as possible, and also they have every chance of being wiped out by the driver coming in too hot into the pit box, such as Kobayashi at Silverstone in 2012, where that bloke, poor lad, just got taken out. But in the original 22 race season, these guys would also be paid around £55,000. Now, Well, the tyre carriers, these guys make sure that they've got the right tyres going out to the car, and sometimes they can mess it up a little bit, such as in Germany in 2019 when Mercedes had that pitifully slow stop. These guys are probably the ones that are most in danger out of all of the pit crew because they actually have to get in the way of the car to be able to do their job. So this can make them quite prone to incidents such as in Bahrain in 2018 when Raikkonen ran over his pitman's leg, and oh my goodness, I don't even want to relive that footage. It is horrific, and I'm so glad that that guy could fully recover. But the same as with the Jackman, these guys have got to be super speedy. They've got to be thinking on their feet. If someone comes into the pit lane suddenly, they've got to make sure they get the right tyres out, because obviously the FIA only allow them to use like a certain amount of certain tyres, so they've got to make sure they get the strategy quick, get the right ones out and onto the car. And also, they've got to be pretty stacked because those tyres are surprisingly heavy. But in the original 22 race season, these guys were going to be paid around £66,000. Now for the tyre changes, or as I like to call them, the wheel nut gun wielders. These are the ones that often have something go wrong for Haas, but they're usually paid around £4,000 per race. Maybe not the Haas guys, they possibly should be paid a little bit less. But I don't think many people quite realise the amount of force that these wheel guns actually output. So they're often spinning at around 10,000 RPM with over 3,000 Newton meters of torque. So they can easily, just with the push of the button, rip themselves out of your hands. And these guys have got to be, again, pretty hench to hold this down and really get a good grip at the wheel. But in the original 22 race season, these guys would be paid around £88,000. Then finally, we've got the technical chief. Now this is the big boy, the main man that's running the show for the pit stop, trying to make sure that everything goes smoothly. So these guys get paid around £8,000 per race because they've got to make sure that it's working like a well-oiled machine. So that means you've got to pay huge respect to teams such as Red Bull, who have been able to continuously knock down the record for quickest pit stop this year. As I said, that can then affect race results, which can then affect the championship, which changes how much money the team gets in the next year, maybe attract more sponsorship. Like, this has a big deal, so you can see why the guy running the show gets paid a fair few bob. And for the original 22 race season, this guy was looking to get paid around £176,000. Well, there we have it. There's a comprehensive list of what the F1 staff are actually paid. As I said at the start, it was very, very difficult to find reliable data, especially data that was up to date. A lot of them are including refueling men, which we haven't used for many years now. So I'd hugely appreciate it if you could drop a like below, and why not hit that little red subscribe button while you're down there, because it means so much to me, and I make new motorsport content every Tuesday and every Friday that you're not going to want to miss. And again, thank you so much for watching, hugely appreciate it, love the support, and I'll see all of you meerkats later. Goodbye guys!